When somebody's gone, the pets go nuts.
Pretty much.
All right.
All right, we ready?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Why doesn't it matter?
Yeah, we're gonna do it anyway.
Oh, okay.
Well, here it comes. Oh, wait, gotta turn on the volume. There we go.
Welcome to Everyone Racers.
A show designed for the world of low-dollar racing.
An oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of Limit Champ or Lucky Track Dog League you run.
SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate.
As long as you drive it hard and build it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions,
Tips and tricks, as well as news and notes.
From the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet when we're lucky enough, and Chrissy.
Chris.
And I give you just the tip.
We're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
We'll just start out with this is Chrissy.
And I'm Jeff.
And I'm mental.
That's so weird. And we're Everyone Racers. Welcome to a happy episode of our podcast. It's episode 263, which apparently is a happy number. What is a happy number, you ask? Which is what I asked. In number theory, a happy number is a number which eventually reaches 1 when replaced by the sum of the square of each digit. In case you were concerned, 4 is not a happy number. If you're still happy, you think you might win bingo, get out your card. See what you can do. Yes, Jeff.
I think Donnie
I know.
has a semi-stiffy right now. Either that or he's firing into the comments on how we didn't explain it right.
I could have gone on. I did look it up. I just thought when I was looking at what came up with this number, I couldn't stop with a happy number. Never heard of it. Yep. That's what it is.
Let me take a brief moment that's not in the notes also to say, hey, Donnie and everyone else in Florida that might be listening, hunker down, baby. Storm's coming, or it's here, or it's already blown through wherever.
Thank God you told them, because they had no idea until right
Weird.
now. Thank God, because no one in Florida knows that the hurricane's coming.
Sure. I was trying to send them my love and hope that they're safe. So.
Air hearts for everybody.
Tiny
I
heart.
seen it. I don't like your tiny heart.
Tiny heart.
So I feel like before we jump into what you're working on, we need to address the elephant in the room. I'm pretty sure.
Or the one not in the
well,
room.
hold
There's
on.
an elephant?
What? Last week, I definitely said I would not be here. I am here and Chris is not. A lot has transpired between last week and this week. So I feel like we just kind of need to talk about what happened here in case people want to know. So
Sure.
They upgraded. They got
what?
rid of Chris and got Chrissy. That's
maybe so. I think he might come back, although I did take his chair and I don't have to hold my microphone, which is awesome. But anyway, I was supposed to go to Florida this week. So
Jeff, I don't know if you know there's a hurricane coming to Florida.
Right out. Do not go to Florida this week.
Well, so I was planning on going and I was like, oh, hurricane going to Florida. People were like talking about it. And then I'm like, travel for work, right? So like my brain's not really processing where I'm going. Friday afternoon, my boss stops a conversation that he's having and says, you probably shouldn't go because everybody who is traveling from that plant is decided to not travel this week. They're all staying home. And I was like, guess I probably should cancel. So on Friday, we didn't know really where Ian was going and was kind of looking like it was headed straight. Well, it was still headed straight to Florida. So I canceled my trip on Friday afternoon. So we knew where I was not going. So that's why I'm here. We knew that I was going to be here. We had some other issues of why Chris is not here. So we had a family emergency that Chris needed to go up to Boston earlier than he planned. So that all happened today. Somebody broke their ankle. So it's not like somebody died. I just want to get that out of there. And so we decided that he had to go. He went without me. I was planning on going, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot going back and forth. Basically, he decided, let me just leave today and get it over with. So he is driving. What I haven't told you
in the C4.
In the C4. What I haven't told you boys is that it's not going well.
Oh,
So he's been driving, excuse me, since about noon. He left noonish.
we should mention he's going up there not only for family reasons, and that's why I took the C4, but he's starting the Lemons rally.
He's starting the Lemons rally.
Yeah.
Yep, that starts tomorrow night. They have to be in North Boston tomorrow night. So he was already planning on we were planning on leaving tomorrow afternoon and driving straight there. He was going to drop me off at the house, and then he was going to go up to Boston and then start the rally. So he's been driving for a while. He is so he texted me a while ago at about 45 minutes ago and said that he's getting close. Car is running rough. He should be able to nurse it. I have not heard from him. He should be there. So it should have gotten to the house. So I'm not sure what's going on. I will give you an update when I know that. Sorry for the long intro. I just wanted you all to know why we are topsy-turvy around here. And
No, that's great. That's like Chris's what you're working on, right? What's he working on?
Nursing
a shitty 84 Corvette to the beginning of a rally that he's then going to drive like 5 days in, right?
Yes, right. Not even to the beginning of the rally. He's going to our house
to
in
meet
Cape
us,
Cod,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is, 50 miles from the start of the rally. So,
Mhm.
so we'll see what happens. I'll let you know if I find out when he gets
Good
there.
luck out there, Chris, if you're listening.
Yeah, he's
No
not.
chance.
He can't listen. Oh, he'll listen tomorrow.
Ah.
Anyway, mental. What you working on?
When he'll still be broken down.
Shh,
Uh,
Matt.
Yeah, this weekend was the PCA High Performance Driver Education, and actually it was the national school. The region here, one of the lead of Team Zoom Zoom Kaboom is on the national board for the PCA instructor board, and they every 3 years they do an instructor, get everybody on the national roll. So Scott ran that school. I was one of the mentors. So I spent most of Saturday behind the wheel of a new GT3 RS.
Ooh.
I know.
Oh, okay. That
I know.
doesn't stop.
Pretending to be a student while the owner of said GT3 RS instructed me. And then we swapped for at the end of the day to sign everybody off. And I went out with my friend Klaus, who was hilarious. And yet again,
Is his last name Von Bulow?
No.
I feel like everybody's name is Klaus is pretty hilarious. That may not be true, but most of the people.
And Klaus is actually an instructor in his regular job. He's an airline pilot, and so he was brilliant, and we had a good time out there. But yet again, the Mercedes, she'll get over 100 degrees. She'll give me about 5 laps, and then the transmission goes, nope. Nope.
Limp home?
No, just we're not going to let you shift anymore.
Oh, just hangs in.
Yeah. And I'm sure that just basically the transmission is just overheating.
Has it ever done better than that?
No. Well, not since I've owned it. When you guys had it, it had none of those issues, but it was raining and regular temperatures where you guys were.
When we used to when we brought it on 1 lap, we did 3 laps and it would get hot. So,
okay. Yeah. Out here, slightly higher ambient temperature.
I guess.
The lead contractor at my job had a retirement dinner last night at the Marina Beach Club Steakhouse here on the Las Vegas Strip. It was fantastic. Highly recommended. It's not cheap, but it's worth it. So great food there. And I managed to get a pair of Raider tickets to hopefully watch them beat Denver, which I know they won't, but it doesn't matter. And we'll be tailgating with my racing partner out here on the West Coast, Mark Francis, that I do the NASA's. So me and Vicky are going to that. I had to buy, we were just mentioning some health woes. Vicky's got a challenge right now, and I had to buy her a little scooter so she could scoot across the bridge. I begged her to let me get a Jazzy. She said, hell no.
So one of those little like kneeling ones, like you put your knee on and push.
Oh, okay.
And yesterday, trying to get in better shape, riding my bicycle to work, got hit by a car.
Oh,
you got hit by a car?
What?
Yeah. So I'm at the stoplight. I'm going to proceed straight across the intersection. Right to the left of me is a car. Light turns green. We start moving forward. I'm looking down to click my feet into the pedals. I hear the car next to me lean on the horn, look up in time to see a beige Camry just turning left in front of everybody, and pops me right in the front wheel. Doesn't knock me over. So I had some choice words involving a activity people to do when they're naked and a deity. and some other interesting activities he could do for the rest of the day. And when I got about 10 feet down the road, I noticed when he'd actually hit my front wheel, he knocked it out of true. So my front
I'm
wheel on my
sure.
bicycle.
You have a potato chip is what we call
And
it.
now
Yes.
that is a very apt description. So that was only 5 more miles with a potato chip, and then another 10 miles home with that one.
Oh no. Oh, that's terrible. And
So,
they didn't stop. They didn't they just hit you.
Well, because he didn't knock me off the bike, and I was just
Come
screaming at him
on.
as I pedaled off. No, he didn't stop.
I am surprised because the places that you go, I mean, we've driven around Las Vegas a little bit, especially around your place.
Yep.
And there are people crossing the road all the time. There are all the time.
At night, in the middle of
Right.
nowhere near a crosswalk. I was at an intersection adhering to the rules of
Yeah.
motorized vehicles.
That is crazy. I think it's dumb. I'm not surprised, unfortunately, but still stupid. And crazy.
I'm glad the car next to me had honked the horn. They were honking at
yeah.
him, but I would have
That
had
you
my
would
head
look up?
down
Oh.
and plowed right into it. So
Shoot.
just, and anyone who's listening to this podcast, we already know you look around because you are a concerned and caring motorist. So, yell at your friends, man. 2 wheels are out there, man.
Man.
Give us some space.
I mentioned a couple weeks ago, don't get complacent. You got to pay attention.
So much.
So not only did you have a great post last week of you in the very uncomfortable lotus position, just
Correct.
today, one of our Instagram followers sent us it looked like it could be like your cousin wearing the same style pants, blue sweatshirt in the lotus position under there with a very disgusted look on their face. And I posted it on our Instagram. Check us out at Everyone Racers.
Oh, actually went everywhere because I definitely saw it on Facebook. I saw it other places today too.
And it was that look when you finally get under there and you brought the wrong socket and they just have this exacerbated pout.
Very fortunately, anytime I did it, I had somebody around and I brought the right socket. So
Well, mental, I wrench alone a lot, so it happens to us probably all the time.
I guess. Yeah.
Annoyingly so.
Yeah.
And so I'll get into the position and then just have 4 of them on my chest.
Uh-huh.
Which
Yeah, or
works
on
great.
You can't find it. You're reaching behind your back.
Oh, I would have put it on
Where
the
did it go?
floor so it's behind my head.
Well, my head is all the way up in there. But it gets annoying because then I'll turn and they all tumble. Yeah. And then it's just reach, no, reach,
Right.
no, reach.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Do you want me to go?
But-
Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead.
I'm sorry. That was supposed to be your
That was
lead
the
in for
intro.
you.
Okay, no
Yeah.
problem. We did a lot of car work. We did a car work weekend, posted plenty to Facebook, some to Insta. Sorry, not other ones because I don't like other platforms. But tried to post some pictures, videos of what we were doing. I worked with the boys on the Z. I took apart the brake calipers and the pads, and then helped to remove the engine harness. Went parts running for Chris. I'll speak for Chris because he's not here. He did a lot on the engine. So we opened the engine up because we decided we were going to do bearings. Well, did we decide that that there was too much shiny in the
Yeah. He cut the oil filter open and realized there's a little too much coppery glitter for his
Yeah.
liking. So
we were expecting to see more problems inside the motor than we did. So that's good. But we decided to take it all the way down. Good thing because the timing chain was very floppy, not very floppy, but a floppy enough.
it was sloppy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. I'm reading your stuff. So
No, that's fine. I'm bending. Keep going.
So that's what he was doing. He was working on the motor, but the 3 of us worked on stripping all the Z and then stripping the Mazda, the RX-7. You saw the picture of me with the upside down. I was removing the accelerator pedal and the engine harness and kind of stuffing our arms in places and trying to get around some of the car parts that we had left from the owner before us. We loaded all the crap up, which was great. We loaded all of the Z parts and Z wheels and every Z fender and all that good stuff into the Z to try to get rid of it. So that's good. Hopefully you should put that on a calendar, Jeff, to make sure that gets out of there someday. Just
Got to make sure our person wants it, or maybe we'll sell it on Racing Junk. I don't know.
I don't know. Let's get rid of it because it'll be nice to get rid of. So lots of work on the RX and the Z, which is great. And I want to say that I listened to Jeff's PSA. You had a PSA about going to the doctor a couple weeks ago, and I said, you know what, now's the time. So I'm telling you all here because I think it's a good idea. I decided to call a couple of the doctors, got my appointments. One of them is the dermatologist, and I went to the dermatologist, and they found a thing that I got biopsied. So I'm happy to say that, well, we'll see. I don't know what it came back as. It might be something worse, but I got a biopsy on a mole, and they said it was a little weird looking. So yeah, so this is my PSA. Go to the doctor, make that call, take the time. Usually, even if you have to go to work, most works are just like, yeah, it's fine. Just go get it done.
Yeah, good PSA.
Yep. Oh, you gave the PSA first, but I was just agreeing with you that it's a good idea.
Yeah. So Chrissy mentioned we already had a work weekend, but I'll throw the list of things we did, just because I think Chrissy said who did it. I'll say what we did. So the 300Z, we took the harness off, the gauges, the kill switch, the ECU, the transmission, the exhaust system. That all had to come out of the Z. We had some wheels and tires and things to flip around, but that was just, to load it on the trailer and things. So all of that had to come out of the Z, and then we took almost the same set of things out of the Mazda, because it had crappy gauges and stock wiring harness, and the ECU out of the Mazda ECU. The Wankel was already out, so chunks of the dashboard, and oddly, we found deep inside the dashboard, the heater core was tie wrapped to the dash bar. So the dash bar was low under the complete dash, and the heater core was not hooked up to anything, but connected to the dash bar in the middle. So we assume this is some sort of like ITA rule, must have heater core installed, but none of the vents were there. None of the tubes, no blower motor.
Maybe they got tired of racing in the cold, and that does.
No, wasn't hooked up at all.
Oh,
there were no tubes from the engine coming in.
Never mind. All
Just
right.
decided that I didn't want to cut that part out. Let's leave that part.
Yeah, it has to be some sort of IT rule that they have to carry the heater core, because they didn't have anything else at the heater system. So, which we thought it was, because we saw that the dashboard was all in shape. So we were like, well, we're going to save the HVAC so we can defrost the windows.
Nope.
And then I'm like, this ain't defrosted anyway.
Nope.
Yeah. So anyway, ball's in my court now. The 300Z is all prepped and ready to go, and the Wankel is out and ready to go to the new home. So they will be either on sale at Racing Junk, I mentioned that, or we might have a short member of our team who might want the Z. If you're out there and you're short and you have a busted leg and you want to text me, I'll bring you the car. Okay, that's all I was.
Yep. Good idea. Cool.
All right.
Yeah, we got a lot done. So that was good. It was all wrench undo still. We are not to wrench do.
No.
So there's still a lot.
And I have a big shopping list now of things I have to find and locate and things, So yeah, so there it is.
Before we move on, I did confirm that Chris made it to the house, but
good
only recently. Took him a lot longer than it usually does. I don't know anything more. So when I find out, I'll let you know.
There you go.
I feel like you should call and put him on speakerphone. Just put him on speakerphone and
okay.
Hey,
we'll
babe,
see.
how's it going? Listen to him cuss.
Like Chris does. Chris does not do that. So that's not how he's going to respond.
He'll just be like,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yep, pretty much. That's why I said you make it. He just said yes. So that's all I know. I'll let you know. Okay, let's move on.
News and notes. I'm going to take over news and notes. I'm
Okay,
going to do
please.
the intro. I twisted the arm of my compadres here to talk a little bit about H2OI and what happened in Wildwood this weekend. For those of you, it's been on the national news, so even though it happens to be local to me, but Chrissy, you've been in Volkswagen community where H2O started.
Correct.
But it seems to not be a Volkswagen thing anymore. It's just kind of like a tuner
Apparently.
takeover. I don't know. We've discussed this before. Sorry. Go ahead. You want to say something about it?
Well, I also grew up in Wildwood, so that's why I know you're closer there normally, but I I spent every summer, all summer there. School ended today, school started. So I'm very familiar with the community, but the community is very much a shore community, just, like
beach
a,
town.
beach town. Yep. Little houses, nice people. It's a little bit crazy. They have parties there. It's not a dry town. So, but it's, unlike other of Jersey City. So, but I did go to H2O. So H2O used to be a Volkswagen community show, car show. Bring any kind of Volkswagen you have, pretty much just
Water
totally.
cooled though, right? That was
No.
kind of why it says H2O, right?
Sure, yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, and it was just not one of those shows that if you showed up in a Porsche, people would not care. Like it was not one of those like shared car shows. Like if you show up with a Porsche in a Porsche show and you bring the NSX, people would be okay. Well, I mean, I guess if you brought the NSX, whatever. Anyway, so I don't know that. I think H2O might have stopped being a sanctioned show because it started getting this way.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think when it was a sanctioned show, we used to especially take over Ocean City, Maryland, which is only a strip of land. And it used to be very chaotic. It used to be very, racing up and down a shore street. They used to do it off season. And they used to do both. There was two different shows, and they used to do them off season. So I feel like I guess this is off season for Wildwood, but there's still people around, and it's still there's no highways, there's no places that are even remotely okay by doing burnouts and any of there's never okay to do the things that they did.
Yeah, so let me mention that we've mentioned this before, that it's the most ticketed car show in America, and it becomes just this crazy thing, and it got kicked out of Ocean City, Maryland. So it was unsanctioned. It was held the past weekend in Wildwood. It was just basically an internet car flash mob that includes this thing that's out there called a takeover. If you don't know what a takeover is, it's basically like everybody stands along the street gets blocked, and an intersection becomes like an impromptu drifting burnout kind of thing. Lots of stoplight to stoplight drag racing. And the tragedy that happened this weekend is not only was it not sanctioned to be in this town, the cops kind of knew it. They kind of started taking care of it. There was some other events going on, like an Irish festival.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of accidents, a bunch of injuries, people who were involved in the show, people who weren't involved in the show. 2 people ended up being killed in a crash. Honda Civic in a drag race got tagged, went into the crowd. A different car went into the crowd and crushed. I believe it was a father and a daughter in a
golf
cart.
Yep.
There's no polishing this. This is terrible behavior. I don't know what to say other than it's the biggest thing happening in car news right now. So I wanted to bring it up and just get some feedback about it, because I know you've been to H2O.
I mean, I think that the one thing that I think is really matters here is sanctioned versus unsanctioned. So if you go to a sanction, which is what we do, most places, most car shows, right? They stop, they put bollards up, they tell people like all of the things that you pay for to get into a car show, they make sure that they close off the streets and they make it safe. So if it was sanctioned, when it was sanctioned, you end up with, here's the parking lots you can go to, here's the place, here are the safe spaces that we know that you're going to be at. Not trying to be necessarily fun suckers, but trying to keep you so that you are all contained in one place and allowed to have the fun that you want to have in one place. And if it's a car show, this takeover is more, this was drag racing and drifto and all of more active things than Wildwood can handle, right? This is not the right place for the things that they wanted to do. So
and neither was Ocean City, Maryland.
Sure.
Which is why they clamped down and eventually kicked it out. So.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I don't want to say that any car group is better than others, because it's all depends on who's there. But when H2O, sure, we did drag, like raced drove down streets pretty fast, but it was mostly just slammed cars that can't make it over speed bumps and friends hanging out, right? I'm sure there was bad things that happened, but it didn't go this far. Like I was watching some of the videos, and Jeff shared a couple different posts that were posted, and these are just hundreds of people standing in the middle of streets that people are trying to get through. Things like that. That's like, that's not a car
And
show.
in this particular case, after that accident, the medical and police response was delayed because they could not get through that crowd.
Yeah, that's the kind of
Yeah.
stuff that's not a car show. That's a flash mob that cars showed up to, and it's a shame that you've tied a name to that. So I think that's what's disappointing.
The I don't know a ton about the community other than just what we've read and talked about before, but this isn't teenagers either. This isn't like 19 and 20. I mean, I'm sure there are 19, 18, 19, 17-year-olds there, but
Yeah.
the guy who ended up being arrested for the vehicular manslaughter, I assume, was like 36, 37
I think
years
so.
old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's old enough to know better.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We've done some stupid stuff. I am not against a highway pull or a, zip it on a just one. Just one. Or a, little stoplight drag that you go up to, is a reasonable, but when there's human beings standing all over the place and you're drifting and you're just menacing a town,
Mhm.
that's not the same thing.
And they're not equipped to do that. They're not equipped to handle that.
Yeah.
Because
For those of you
that's
who
when
don't
you have
know,
go ahead.
I was gonna say the Jersey Shore, most of those Jersey Shore towns only operate on a very small police force with seasonal police. So like when the town is filled between, Memorial Day and Labor Day, they have 3 times the police force than they do after Labor Day.
And believe it or not, Irish weekend is huge.
Yeah, big deal.
Huge there.
Mhm.
So you already had an event, and I'm sure there was actually there was a vintage car show this
There was
weekend, I
some sort of
think.
vintage car show, yeah.
So I think all of the police were working on blocking streets and making sure these people could have a good time. And like Irish Festival, they blocked whole streets to have
for
tents
people to
and
walk
food
around and
yeah.
food
So
trucks and
this very small community, the police force was already focused on trying to make sure that the rest of the sanctioned events were having a good time. I think that's really what burns me, is that you just say, well, we're just going to have our own event and not tell people or not get people involved. And that's why you do it. You have that support, and somebody else is paying for the insurance and marketing and organization, right? Literally, this is what you do every day.
That's what I do for a living, yeah.
I know it is.
you make sure there's enough trash cans and everybody stays
porta
safe
potties and
porta
and
potty,
the parking
exactly.
lot that everybody says, okay, you're coming in here. That's why.
Mhm.
So that
I'll-
sucks.
I'll end it with 2 different thoughts, and then I'll open it up for you guys to say anything else before we move on. But take it to the track. We say that all the time. That's why we do this podcast, to convince you to go to a track and do racing. We're not against speed. We're not against cars.
No, not even. This is the thing: you don't have to be a performance thing. Once a month, our friend John Polnick puts on a fantastic event, Cars and Cafe.
Yeah.
And people I take my dogs there, and we don't have these issues. The closest we ever had is a guy showed up in a Lambo one time and then bounced it off the rev limiter, and everyone looked at him and said, "Don't do that.
You're a jerk."
Right.
We're welcome in
Not
this
cool.
neighborhood. We're welcome in this neighborhood. We want to keep it that way." But I've taken my tiny dogs down there and this sort of thing. I get that you want to be the outlaw, the rebel, or whatever, but the thing about sanctioned is they're not just being, Chrissy said, fun suckers. They're keeping your car safe. I don't care what kind of piece of crap car you have. That's your car.
Right.
And you shouldn't have to worry about some lunatic, trying to slide it around a corner and then bouncing into your ride.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
the destruction that they did for the rest of the town. Like when they're doing stuff in the middle, like
They
just
smashed into buildings.
right. Yeah. Like took out whole buildings, took out, what do you call those? Like meters and telephone poles and just like destruction. And then all of a sudden they're just like, see ya. So a lot of the articles that some of them that you posted, Jalopnik had a few, because they were so mad that just like people showed up like a flash mob, they destroyed things, and then they're just like, gotta go, except for the guy that's in jail and the 2 people that are dead.
Well, there's
like,
a second,
how is that
second person's
okay?
been arrested too.
And then,
Oh yeah.
and because of that, because the world is not into the car culture, you know, Chrissy's going to go to work tomorrow and she might take her NSX, which is, it's clean and it might have a sticker or two in there. And Jeff's got the Gulf colored.
No, I got numbers on the side of my car.
Hyundai, and I've got, you know, stickers on my car, and you know, you're making my life hard. I'm a responsible enthusiast, and now I've got cops giving me the side eye because they're lumping me in with you.
What are you going to start, Mental? What are you going to start? Jeff, what are you gonna Jeff might actually want to watch out because you're in Jersey, so you're not far from the action. I mean, you're far enough.
Yeah,
totally.
Jeff probably has to go take his numbers off his car tomorrow.
I'm seriously consider taking my numbers off because of that. Because I don't want to be lumped in with you. And that was really my second point is I am not someone who says this is car culture and this is not. If you want a low rider, if you want a what stance, whatever, I don't get it, but I'm cool with you. Unless you're screwing it up for other people. H2I takeovers, you're screwing it up for other people.
Totally.
I'm done.
Okay. Thanks for allowing us to not read some copy about some stories. We decided to just take the liberties to chat about this for a while. Okay. Now I know that we've talked about fun things that Racing Junk has to offer, but I continue to find rabbit holes to wander down. I'm really happy with our trailer because Chris made it nice and made it a nice place to be. But hanging out in Jeff's trailer made me think about how much people might be wanting to just get a new trailer instead of, or new to them, rather than just saying that you're going to do all these things and not actually do them. So Racing Junk has this really cool place on it. It's called Cool Car Finds. And on this page, they have Trailer Tuesday, and they feature trailers of every size and accoutrement you could possibly think of. But then I found more cool cars, like an effing tank. And it is a restored by former monster truck racer Overtime parade capable R2, which I don't know what that means. Twin 871 blower Chevrolet. Name doesn't stay. Numerous spare parts, vehicle delivery acceptable, available. But the ad is
Hold
called.
on, I'm pulling this up.
The ad is called "This is an effing tank." Which I was like, what?
Discounted effing tank.
Yes. I think it's been up for a little while.
Oh,
anyway.
Wait a minute. You did, is this the one that looks like an Astro van?
Enable screen sharing, Jeff.
Oh, I'm getting there. I'm just making sure I'm on the right one.
Yes, it is.
No, you're screen sharing, but you're not enabling screen sharing because otherwise it would already be on the screen.
Oh, I thought I did enable screen sharing. I'll do it anyway.
Yes.
I will do that as soon as I'm
I
done.
can't remember.
Oh my gosh, I got an ad.
Get
out of there. It's like a Ford Astro van, right?
Yeah, and that's the part that lifts up. There's a video below which we don't need to play, but I watched it because it's awesome.
Oh my!
Yeah, so the whole lid like pops off, and that's where the tank is. Anyway, I don't want the tank. I just thought this was great, and like this is what you find on Racing Junk. You find these random things that people make or come up with, or where else are you gonna sell? You can't sell.
Are there two blowers and two motors in this thing?
Twin, yes.
Oh.
So you find a lot of cool things in Racing Junk.
That's an effing tank, all right.
It is an effing tank.
There's no other way to.
I bet you that you will find interesting things on Racing Junk. Go there instead of Facebook because you will find cooler things and come back with cooler stories. You'll thank me later. Upcoming races.
And everyone can share now. I'm sorry, Mental, in case you want to share. Upcoming races. We already mentioned Chris is out there. Boston to Boston Lemons Rally. 4 days, I believe.
Yep.
Many hundreds of miles, but it is a loop. So you begin and end in the same city. 43 cars, including the Chris and just the 84 Corvette, right? I mean, yeah, lots of veteran teams, 2 El Caminos, 2 Beetles, and a VW bus.
There's a lot of good cars on that list.
43 is huge for a
That's
Lemons.
big.
Yeah, it is.
Huge.
Well, that's because Lemons is pretty popular, and we do well in all of the East Coast races are usually full, somewhere between New Hampshire and Thompson and Jersey. So there's a lot of people up here. So Lemons has a good following, is what I'm getting at.
Got an international school bus, a 34 Ford pickup, a Privia, of course a 99 Century, the cheater car, the 84 Mercedes diesel. Although this one's a 190. So on that one,
That'll
Grand
get up to about
Marquis.
40 miles an hour.
Yeah, there's just some really, really great stuff out there.
Yeah, we'll see. We just got to get it running first because.
Oh, and of course,
having
we
our
totally forgot
problems.
about the BAM Mafia. That's Uncle Dave, and he is driving a what?
A Cressida.
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 Yep.
So, Dave, Uncle Dave, who's joining the rally, he's the 3-pedal mafia guy. He races a Cressida, and he bought a Cressida, saying, "This will be a good spare parts car. This is too nice for a spare parts car. I will take it on a Lemons rally."
It'll be really good when they get together because then at least you've got support vehicles. That's always so helpful to be able to find another team to be able to help. And when your car's broken, somebody else can go parts running. So it'll be good for them to be together. And I'm sure we'll see lots of pictures because Bobbin's with. So she's the best at taking pictures.
Yeah. Awesome.
Metal.
Champ car at pit race this weekend. 66 cars, only 22 BMWs.
That's a
Only?
good, for
It's
champ,
on the
that's
bubble.
it's
It's
a
on the
good
bubble.
reference.
It's a
Okay.
third.
Like slightly boring. How about that?
Well, yeah, slightly boring. 50 Miatas, 4 Hondas, 8 Porsches, a Beretta.
A Beretta, right?
Yeah, right.
Better
93
be turquoise
Impreza.
and have that little pink.
Yes. 93 Impreza and a 96 Trans Am.
Trans effing am.
Yep.
Now
All right.
/ recent results, listener feedback.
Yeah. So Adam N reached out on the old Facebook Messenger and it says, "Here's some listener feedback. You might need to bring back race results at least long enough to tell the world how amazingly and not completely terrible the IOE winning Rover SD1 was at the National Corvette Museum race this weekend." Which I replied. I said, "Hey, Adam, we don't want to just read results anymore, but we would love to have your story of whatever happened at the race. So we will still do race recaps. We just don't want to do results. So send us a couple of good stories and we'll read them on the air, everybody." And that's just not for Lemons. We'll do it for anything.
Totally.
So
Especially
so-
if there's.
Oh,
What?
go ahead.
So he replied with
So-
paragraph.
Yes,
on
yes. So Mofoco team members ran with the test card F for historical moment in motorsports. Hats off to team member Dave Coxon for a truly audacious build and remembering to put gear lube in the rear axle this time. Yep. Gonna need some
Yep.
gear lube in your rear.
Good idea.
Now, of course, my co-hosts were busy doing a work weekend, and they
Yeah, we
posted a
were.
few pics this weekend, of which of the Z DJ 914 said, "Man, I still love the livery on that car. It was a good one." It
It's
was.
true. It's true. Keith
Mhm.
M said that that effing thing's effed. Yep. It's possible that you didn't see
Yep.
the first one.
Patrick Connolly jumped in. He said, "Is the RX-7 replacing the Z?" I haven't listened in a while.
And
Pretty much,
Chrissy,
yes.
Chrissy said, yes, the RX ran it in JMP, blew the motor. So the Z motor, the old 4.8, is now going into the RX-7. It's going to be a while, so you can expect to see that in about 2023.
Maybe. Let's hope.
No, I think so.
That was sure.
Yeah.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
great. I think so. Corey Dickman says Ella swapped RX-7. This is the way.
This is the way. I have
Yeah.
spoken.
Yep. So thanks for watching our pictures. We had a pretty good time.
You know who
Welcome.
also knows the way and has spoken?
It's true.
Mhm, mhm.
She has so much.
In addition to your sister, who will get that joke.
That's right.
Oh, everything. Everybody will.
Fair enough. All right.
My mom watches
Star
as
Wars
much as
people.
I do. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can't
There you go.
can't be in my family without knowing some of those things.
Yeah. Hi, Chrissy's mom. Hi, Chrissy's sister.
Hi, Mom.
Here's a quick question for Chrissy's sister. Do you know the internal temperature of a tauntaun?
I don't know, but I'll ask her.
Lukewarm.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Let's keep going. I'm
Now
sorry.
see, I get it. No, that's funny. That is a nerd and dad
That's
joke.
a
That
nerd
is-
joke
that's-
and a half. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
no, that's well delivered.
And topic time.
Okay.
Who wants to intro this?
The person that came up with this topic is not here.
Not here.
No, but we decided we're going to move on with it anyway.
And apparently didn't listen to his own advice because he just got there.
No, he's been working really hard on this car. So he's replaced a lot of things. Anyway, we're going to talk about how to win at road tripping. It was kind of part of him doing this road trip, but we do a lot. I think we all do kind of like a lot of road tripping. So we're trying to figure out how to do it well. Sometimes people are amazed that we were like, yeah, we stopped once. We did, 6 to 8 hours. We're fine. And people are like, how do you do that? And so most of it comes with planning. So we're going to talk about it. Jeff, you want to start out with some planning tips?
Sure. We're gonna get to the car in a minute, but I'm going to talk about the peeps, right?
Yep.
You're probably going to be driving with a crew. I'm a dad. You got to, if you're bringing the Rugrat with you, and he's 14 now. When he was a Rugrat, we would drive to Chicago in one shot or something. You needed to be prepared. So you need to pick some teammates who are going to be good road tripping teammates. Okay.
I like that.
Chrissy, Chris, Mental, we've all done it with each other. I ride with my brother. My brother and I can literally sit in the car and talk to each other for hours. We're not the kind of brothers who fight, but you got to check some stuff. The year I didn't go, Jim found some schmuck on the internet and just realized about halfway through that his dietary needs and my brother and the rest of the team's dietary needs did not jibe. You need to know if you got vegetarians or if people are going to be okay with drive-through or who needs coffee, right? Chrissy and I share the coffee thing. Mental too. We know we got a calf up in the morning.
Yeah, but Chris could care less. So
Chris could care less.
I have,
but he's also not offended if we all go get coffee.
Sure. Yes. No,
and he understands.
But he wouldn't go there and just say, "Hey, let's go get coffee," because if he's driving or making the decisions, we will all have to say, "No, we want to stop."
No, coffee.
Right.
Coffee.
But
coffee.
Make your intentions known, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I just pick some good teammates and also plan for your teammates. About the fourth day of every Babe rally, that's a Big Apple to Big Easy. It was about a 9-day trip, 5 down, 3 back. About Chrissy would look at me and go, "I need a vegetable."
I needed a vegetable. And the one time I went to Sonic, and Sonic literally doesn't have vegetables, and they had a banana in the kids'
They
meal.
have jalapenos,
right? And I don't even think they have salads. I think that they have salads. They have fried chicken on it.
This is many years ago, so
it was many.
They
years
may
ago,
have diversified the menu.
Sure, but I was like, okay, I'll have a banana. And the banana was so green. It basically came off the tree. And I was like, I can't actually eat this. And so the only vegetable that I had in 4 days was a very green banana.
I think a banana's a fruit.
Whatever. I just wanted a fruit or vegetable.
I remember one time we got a lot of pizza. And you were like, "I need a vegetable." I'm like, "Can we order mushrooms?" And you're like, "Yes, mushrooms on the pizza."
Sorry.
Also not a vegetable.
Yeah, I know. But
sorry to be a stick in the mud that sometimes it gets old when you just don't eat vegetables.
I have no problem because when you said you needed a vegetable, I needed one too. But I do have a bone to pick with you and Christopher back in the day.
Okay.
Waffle House.
What about it?
The rest of the crew was like, you were on like a 3 or 4 Waffle House trip week.
Okay.
The first time I go, I'm like, yeah, Waffle House. Second time, I'm like, oh, Waffle House.
Yeah.
Third time, I'm like, really? We're gonna.
So
go
what was the bone
House?
to pick?
That's it. That you are like the most healthiest eating people on the planet, and you're like, chunked, spunked, fired, fired,
That actually has vegetables in it.
I was always like, I'm sick of this place.
Or when you go and you get the country and it says, "Oh, only 100 calories," and literally there's more country gravy on top of your. You can't see your hash browns.
Your hash browns.
Like, yeah, that's too much. That's too much country.
All right. I think Chrissy has something to say about passengers and teammates.
I do.
And
yeah.
things.
So
let's do that and then we'll get to mechanical.
And in thinking about road trips when we take it with no friends, Chris and I drive many, many hours in one stint, and I am a very good passenger. So not for any reason other than, I don't know, Chris just likes to drive and I'm happy to not drive. So that's really why we do it. But I am really good at what I call navigating. So I navigas. I look at we usually have Waze running. I know this is kind of in the middle of. I'll talk. Go back to the
no problem.
to the food. But basically, while we're driving, I will run Waze. But knowing the trip that we're going on, and typically knowing where some backup will be, I will open a Google Maps and or Apple Maps or both for that matter, and look at the roads ahead to figure out where we should go and make a call. And we are ingrained in doing that. So I try to avoid come up with options, avoid traffic at all costs, look out for when roads are closed and go around them. Even if we have to take back roads, we will do that depending on how bad the traffic is. So I call it navigating, but I'm very good at that. And I think it's very helpful if you have a passenger that is active, that can help with things like that, because that will could potentially save you some time. Or maybe you go somewhere that you're like, well, at least we're not sitting in traffic, go through this cute little town and you see things. So, so that's navigating. And that's what I think is important for a passenger.
And we've been on a lot of rallies. A lot of times the person in the passenger seat is kind of integral to how many points you're going to score and things like that. So
pictures. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The other one thing that I say that it's good for a passenger. So I happen to be one of those people that has a dietary issue. So I am the one who is, as Chris says, I'm pickier. So therefore I usually pick whatever food is available. And so sometimes you're saying, okay, it's dinner time. Where are we going to stop? Trying to find, on Google Maps, looking and figuring out what's right off the highway, what's easy on off, what doesn't take too long to eat. One of my things that I really like is places like Five Guys that you can order on the app. And you can tell it, I will be ready. I'm going to pick it up in 26 minutes when you are 25 minutes away. And so, or, somewhere time around there, by the time you get in, you can use the restroom, wash your hands, and your dinner's done and you walk out. So things like that are some of my go-tos. Yes.
I would also encourage any of you that try to eat healthy, broaden beyond food that gets handed to you through your car window. On a trip to New Hampshire, when Chrissy didn't come with us that one time, I rode with Chris, and our stop was that it's a well-known grocery store right there on the border. I can't for the life you guys would remember.
Is it a Wegmans?
Stu Leonard's?
Oh, Stu Leonard's.
Yeah, and like you have to actually kind of follow a meandering path through the whole store. And we took our time because Chris wanted to show me this cultural icon, but there was any number of healthy choices that were available in there, and it was good. California is really good about this. You have a lot of very small groceries that have relatively fresh produce right there. And you can be in and out of a small grocery store just as fast as you can be in and out of a Burger King and eat well.
I love that idea. That's good. Yeah. I don't usually think of that. I try to think of the places that are more like fast food. I mean, there's plenty of good, you can get fairly healthy things.
These days you can. Yeah. 10 years ago, it was a little harder.
Oh,
but the bonus of a grocery store is I will take odds that their bathrooms are usually cleaner than a fast food place.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So there's a couple things that I tend to lean towards of what's easy on off, what's something that is either is good, or I love the idea of a grocery store depending on where you are. And so those are the two things about tasking for passengers. I don't know that I added these things, but I think Chris did about on a crab can rally.
I added them because I thought they were good for your passenger.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So if you're on a crab can rally, who will bring the mascot? So I can't wait to see pictures of Chris's mascot. It is there's probably 3 people that are listening that know who he is. Go ahead.
And you're not just in charge of the mascot. When I did the Heaps in the Heart of Texas rally with Dr. Florida Man and Steph Schrader, we had a ship in a bottle. And I was very good about taking the pictures right up until the point when I just left it sitting on the car as we drove off and it fell off and broke the bottle. You actually need to take care of the mascot. You actually have to, I got way too casual with it. And then so the rest of our shots were a broken bottle that I had to be very careful about not killing us with.
Killing people. Fortunately,
that's a good tip safety tip for mascot selection: make it not breakable, or if it's
Totes.
breakable, don't make it something that will kill you
Yep.
after it breaks.
Yep. So Chris's
That's it.
mascot, or Chris and Paul's mascot, is a beanie baby, a very small beanie baby. It's one of the little guys with a cape. It is how we make them.
Oh,
Eric Root is going to be so
pandering
excited.
to the judges. Very
Yep,
well
that's
done.
right.
Yep. He's very cute. So that's their mascot. So right, if they fall down, then it's not going to be a big deal. So that's good.
No.
So I'm sure both of them will keep very good care of Howie.
Mental, stick that up in the camera again. Your little, is that your just one goat?
This is Gabby.
Yeah, that's Gabby. We took we took pictures
Exactly.
with
I know.
Gabby.
Gabby spent a couple of months in Pennsylvania, quite some time, and she went on a great couple of trips. She went to the Cape, and
I know.
yeah, she had a great old
took
time.
pictures of her.
I just want to say just one goat. I was just trying to call it.
So yeah, so go ahead.
Well, and if you are something on a crab can rally, especially something like this or the Gambler, where it is a lot more about the interactive, don't be afraid to be an absolute idiot. Don't ever try to look cool on it. Just embrace the insanity. And if someone's got a ridiculous comedy shtick that they want to do, lean into it. That's half the fun.
Absolutely.
Totally. One last thing about travel, hotels. So if you're going on a crab can rally and they tell you about the hotels, get the hotel, just book it, just so you know where you're going to end up. Make sure you get the room, because if you don't get it, or if you are out of the block because you forgot, that sucks, because there's all the parties happen. All the parties. It's usually some
A parking lot.
a bunch of tired
Yeah.
people. That
Parking lot,
sitting in-
share a beer and share a
Right.
story time. Yeah.
and a pizza, or fix
But
your
in
car.
some of these hotels, the town is so small. If you're not at the hotel with everyone
Yep.
else, you're like 10 miles down the road.
Right.
That's
But,
lame.
Figure out if you need a bathing suit, and if you
You
want to
do. You always need your bathing suit.
Well, some of the pools may not be places you want to go. Also, they're going
But
north
you
in
need your
Boston,
bathing
so-
suit to make that decision.
Sure. But they're also going north. So it's pretty cold. So I'm not sure
Indoor.
that they're going to do a short,
Let's-
maybe a
let's-
hot
Hot
tub.
tubs. Hot tub
But
party.
Also, if you are a passenger, you can also make sure you have a device that you're able to figure out it. Just assuming you're back to just you and somebody else traveling. If you need, if you are going somewhere and you need, make sure you have somebody who can use the internet. Also, you could do a thing called phone a friend. So sometimes when I am driving and I'm driving too far, or Chris is doing the same thing, when he is transporting cars up and down the East Coast, he will say, okay, I'm going to be at this place. This is when I would like to stop. And then you phone a friend and find out where the next closest hotel is. So I think that is a great idea. Rather than you stopping and trying to find something, phone a friend. Anyway, let's move on. To the
Also
car.
good for weather reports. Did that
Oh,
on a
great.
couple of
Ooh,
on
I
a
like
couple of
that.
motorcycle trips. We were almost getting snowed in a valley,
Yeah.
and our lead phoned his spouse, who got on the computer and said, "You have to take this
Totes.
road, and you've got to be there in the next 40 minutes, or you're going to get."
Yeah.
Thought.
That's a great
It's great.
thing.
It's a
Yeah.
good idea.
That's really important. Okay. Let's
All
move on to the car.
Yeah, let's talk about the car. Here's the deal. You going on a crap can rally is drastically different than taking care of the daily driver and having maybe a shaky daily driver that's about to become a road trip car. We're going to start with, so you just pulled this out of the weeds and you're going to take it on a long trip, or it just came out of some garage find or fogey fresh, or, I prefer fogey fresh over found in barn, because fogey fresh means it's actually been driven.
What is
Because
fogey fresh?
fogey, some old lady had it and they were driving it yesterday, or somebody was commuting and they no longer need it, like something that the wheels have turned recently, but it's a total slag heap.
Or they are going to the grocery store and Kohl's and then going home. That's
Sure.
more like it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the rally cars were the grandfather's car that,
Right.
and grandmom's car that ended up in the kid's possession because grandma or grandpa doesn't drive anymore.
Mhm.
Hopefully not because they're past, but because, their eyesight is bad and they took the keys away. and
Can't
now they're
drive at
s-
night. Yeah.
They're sitting there with this Lincoln, like, what the hell am I going to do with it? So that's my favorite kind of cars, but you need to make it safe. Safe is the first one we've already talked about. That's brakes and tires are a must. If anybody remembers the story of Connie, the 73 Lincoln Continental went to New York to New Orleans. It blew 3 out of 4 tires and 2 brake lines in the first couple of days.
That's true.
Dry rot is bad thing. So you really need to look at the tires. Tires can have tread on it and age out. You really need to look for those cracks, look for the rot, learn how to read the date code, know what wear bars look like so you know if it is a banana peel or not. All of these things you really need to, like, if a tire's sketchy, just go ahead and replace it. Kind of mental.
And you don't have to spend big bucks. Yes, Tire Rack hashtag, they should totally sponsor us. You can, especially for crab cans, you can get good cheap tires, but also in your town, most likely is what we call a takeoff store. Someone goes in there and they're getting upgraded rims and wheels. They've got tires kicking around all the time. My favorite Hispanic tire shop just up the road that has worked on the Mercedes a half a dozen times, they do exactly this. And when I blew 2 trailer tires, I rolled up there and he pulled out a set of good date code tires that he'd pulled off of somebody's truck. And he goes, $20. And I'm like, you, sir, have a deal. And
That's
so,
amazing.
and these are good, fresh, tread-worthy tires. And you could probably even get them for less if they've been worn down just a little bit, and patch, but they're going to be safe. They're not going to dry rot. They're not going to explode.
Yeah, I love used tires. I've bought used tires for many things back in the day. Most of these crap can rallies, this is not your forever car. So you just you need
Dear
something
God.
that is you need something that is good now, and it's okay if they are half worn out.
We know in a year Dave's still going to be driving that Cressida, but still, not your forever car.
Probably. Masley, you want to take this next section since nobody claimed it?
All right. It's real simple. You're not going to have to rebuild the engine. You are going to want to check your fluids, and you want to have some extra of all of those fluids in your trunk. Get a old milk crate or some sort of sturdy thing to throw in the trunk. Brake fluid, obviously some oil, obviously some antifreeze, some water, and transmission fluid if you need it. Power steering fluid if it's required. Just have those things in there. Yes, you can get them at any number of the flaps during your journey, but at 2:00 in the morning when you need that, or the hose busted that you just fixed and you got to refill it just to limp it into town, you're going to wish you had those fluids with you. They don't spoil, so keep them.
Yeah.
Do you have an unobtainium part on your car that is subject to failure? The infamous GM ignition coils, for example, or in the case of Donnie and mine's failed Cadillac rally to Texas,
Cimarron,
year,
right?
No, the Cimarron won. This was the DeVille.
Oh, the DeVille, yes.
Where they alternated that was made for 1 year and 1 year only on the 4100. The year. And had I known that, there would have been a spare one sitting in the trunk. But that was ultimately the death of that car. So just do a little internet research and find the Achilles tendencies on this car. And then the last bit, if you're taking a questionable car, you need to be driving it to work for a couple of days leading up to that, just to start finding out if there's anything on there. I was on the Do or Die podcast, as I am on occasion, and the difference between Dwayne Wick and John Polnick when they both buy a new car. Dwayne Wick's Garage will show up.
We had him on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely. And he was fantastic. He'll get there a day early, gives him time to get through the car, go through it, tighten everything, make sure it's all good to go. He loads up the trunk. He's got plenty of supplies. He lays out his map. He's very Chrissy in his approach to bringing a new purchase home. JP shows up with a one-way ticket and hops in the car and goes, doesn't even fill it up with gas until he needs to. So, choose your gamble someplace in between there. But if you have the opportunity before the rally, like Chris and Chrissy have been doing with the Corvette, give it a good shakedown.
A lot. It is so worth it. And it takes away some of the worry. I mean, if you're all into, let me just do all these fixes on the road. Like if you're cool with that on the side of the road and you don't have a clutch, like if that's you, then cool. But, or it's just do it, right? It makes sense to drive it to work. And then it gets you a feel for
what's that grindy noise,
right?
Maybe that's a bearing I should think about before I drive 300 miles.
Or I went, he drove to Maryland and back and couldn't figure out what was wrong. It didn't have a radio. that kind of sucks. So, if you find these things that are broken, they're much, much easier to fix in your house. So, yes. So that's good. And of course, we mentioned Chris is having a problem getting there, right? So he did get there. But he's trying to now figure out what's wrong with it. And at least he can narrow down, hey, all of these things are already fixed. So they're not that. And that's nice to be able to say, hey, I fixed these things, so it's not that. Or it shouldn't be that anyway.
Or if it's me and Jeff, that's the first place we start looking, because it's probably something we missed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
Well,
with
and I
Chris, it's
think-
not. So
I think like you're never going to know if your head gasket is really in shape or not until you get that sucker hot and keep driving. So
sure.
if you have a 3-mile commute like Chris does, that might not be far enough to find the errors. You need a good, hour, 45-minute couple of drives to make sure that car is okay. So I love
especially for
commuting in it.
long
Yeah.
periods.
But I have a long
actually
commute.
long. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So the one thought that I had while we're talking about all these things, and maybe some other people have this thought, is that what if the car that you pick doesn't have room to bring these things? So I want what?
You mean like when I went in the Miata across country?
Or
when I went
Fiero.
in Fiero.
A Fiero, yeah.
There's that.
That's where I was
but-
going. Fiero.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Let's see.
I couldn't bring those things. So
Mhm.
I don't even know. I mean, if Fiero probably doesn't have unobtainium parts other than just throwing an engine out the side. So I think so it's really hard to do that, right? Like how to pick how many tools you possibly need. Fortunately, you just have friends that can probably help you because when your car dies, then you have to figure out what to do with it. But Chris took the 84 Corvette, which he found actually had enough room, but some of these things might be easier for you, depending on where you're road tripping to, might be easier for you to buy, right? Oil and coolant and stuff like that. Like it might be easier for you to just find a flap and get some, or get a friend to pick some up for you, than bring it. So just it depends on what you're driving in.
And one of the hacks, if you know where you're going, you can call ahead, have those things sent to that flaps. And then if you don't purchase them, they send them back.
Mhm.
So if you call ahead and order parts, and this is actually from the manager of the flaps at CMP, he's told any number of Lemons racers, it's the O'Reillys, call ahead, have all these parts sent there, and he's like, and the truck's coming to my store anyway, and then
Yeah.
if you don't need them, they put them back on the truck.
Yeah,
and send them back to
72
the
hours later,
warehouse.
I'll send it back.
And so these but it also, as Chrissy said, probably a good idea to do a little research and know where these part stores are along your journey, as much
Yep.
as you are allowed to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, I'll throw something in there about the what spare parts. So we did this in a Miata twice. My brother did it twice, but how I made the decision on what to bring and what not to bring is I did a lot of improvised parts. So baling wire, what's that, like that bendable stuff that you can put your exhaust back up with,
Yep.
duct tape,
Right. What kind of crafty shit can you come up with that you can fix stuff on the side of the road with most things, like a hammer and
That's a wrench.
squirrel and some
Yeah.
toothpicks.
Luckily with the Miata, you really only need like 3 wrenches anyway to do the whole
Right,
damn thing.
right.
But
You had to.
yeah. But when you're that small, you need to prioritize like the tools over sometimes the clothes.
Yep. Like when you bring a Fiero and then it's space people. So we had to bring a helmet. So that was our priority things, is bring the helmet.
Jim and I had Star Trek shirts, so that
Right,
was
that
the
wasn't
easier way
hard.
to go.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's
Yeah.
move on.
Let's move on.
Stereos.
You need
You
tunes,
can't-
baby.
You cannot be road tripping without tunes. Cannot
That's true.
happen.
It's true.
Who's going? I'll do it.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
So I am the king of janky stereo installs right before we leave. Cut holes in crap and drop that 6x9 dual $15 pair of speakers in the back parcel shelf of your E30. People are going, ah, yep. It's what you do. Cassette adapter is your best friend. If you're buying something from the 80s or the 90s and it's got a cassette thing, find that cassette adapter because it's going to have a mini plug. And
80
man,
or
you can-
90s.
Link
sorry.
link to the show notes. Link,
How about
the show notes.
2005?
Sure.
No, because the NSX has the tape adapter.
Has the tape adapter. There you go. They also will do Bluetooth cassette adapters. Do you have one of those?
No.
No. Oh.
We have
But
a
your
string out.
iPhone does not have a plug, does it?
What? Yeah. Like
Oh.
a
Like a mini-
Chrissy
you got
Chrissy
one?
has an
Oh.
ancient. Chrissy's iPhone is
No,
in a
no, no.
museum. She
No,
got it
my-
out
no,
of
it's
the museum.
not. No, look at this.
No,
It's
you
a
got the little
new one.
dongle thing.
I have a dongle.
The little,
Yep.
the little.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I call it a
Doom
weenie
hacker.
bit. Yes. Yes.
Weenie Bit. I call it Doom Hacker.
Yeah.
But to that end, in some of these cars, like the late 80s, early 90s Fords with the cassette players in there, those were really great stereos. I had an old van that had the full up Dolby sound on there, and I wouldn't have replaced that stereo if I needed to. I bought a cassette adapter, and this was dawn of the MP3 players because that stereo sounded fantastic. And General Motors was also hiring audio engineers, and some of your Japanese stuff, your higher end Japanese cars have these great design stereos. It's just the technology is outdated, and a cassette adapter just puts you right there in the modern age.
Yep.
There you go.
But it's worth it.
It's $10. We've got a link to it in our show notes. You can get one from
But-
Amazon.
So the next one on here is FM transmitters. Are they any good anymore? I know they used to be crappy.
They've gotten better.
Have
That
they?
was my CLK 430, because I also, much like the CLS, I didn't have an auxiliary input. All I had was CDs, and I did not want to rip that integrated stereo out and put an ugly piece of equipment in there. So I was using a cigarette lighter FM transmitter, and it was actually pretty good, and
Was
would
it?
actually would even charge my phone. And it's like anything else, you're going to get what you pay for. If you buy one at
Oh,
the
maybe that's
checkout
it.
counter at 7-Eleven,
Yeah.
you get a nice one from Amazon or Crutchfield, read the reviews, and it's got something that's got a little bit of horsepower to it, signal wise.
Yeah.
Yes, it's high quality.
I buy it. Got it. So speaking of radios, get a radio. So I know that they are using, you said CB radios. We totally used to do that back in the day. But they're just using the normal handhelds that we use. So just Baofangs, the ones we use for racing. That's what Dave and Chris are using for the ramp.
But they're friends. Usually when you do a mass trip, they all do like CBs will be anybody, right?
Yeah, but when we had CBs, we didn't talk to other people, did we?
Sure.
Oh.
I'm with you,
think
Chrissy.
so.
Jeff's a weirdo.
I thought
Jeff was out there.
I'm a
there's enough
solo
of us.
guy.
There's enough of us that we had to all talk to to other people. Like, I guess you could switch.
Oh,
channels,
I
but-
meant other competitors.
Yeah,
We would talk
no.
to Hanson or whoever,
I feel like we already had 5 cars in our
in our crew. Yeah.
crew. That was plenty. But
Mhm.
get radios. It's totally worth it. You want to, even when actually sometimes when we drive home, Chris and I drive home with Jeff and Jim from the race.
Yeah.
We will split the radio so we can talk on the way home, just because if we're
mhm.
driving together, we might as well be able to talk. So it's worth it. It's better than phones. It's better. I don't know. I mean, you can put on speaker, but radios are better.
I hear
and
there's
if you
even.
are, I'll say if you are going CBs, that's something you're going to test beforehand, because the antennas become very specific. The first Babe Rally we did when I traded the van for beer, we never could get that antenna to work right, and I would lose you guys after a block. So, and it was yeah, there's a lot of, and CBs are cheap. They still sell them at Love's and all of your big truck stocks, but
Or the internet.
or the internet. Pay attention to the antennas that work on those to make sure that you're actually getting a proper
Good
reception.
call.
And a lot of cars have plastic these days. Those antennas are magnetic. So if that's not going to work, get one that bolts to your bumper.
Yeah.
And your rescue agencies and a lot of your state police, especially out here in the West, do still monitor CB bands. So if you do find yourself in a particularly bad spot with no cell phone coverage, your
Oh,
CB will work.
That's a nice idea too.
Good. All right. Let's talk about themes and decorations.
Let's.
We missed
Yeah.
the second
Bring-
half of that.
yeah,
It's-
Bring
I-
a, bring a phone.
I think Chrissy already mentioned that before, didn't she?
And make sure you don't have a potato phone.
You know what a potato phone is, right?
No.
It's one of those crappy ones that takes really terrible pictures.
Yeah.
Like
You know,
two
you post-
megapixels.
2 megapixels. Like, what do you take this picture with a potato?
Yeah. In fact, people even do that now. On Facebook Marketplace, they'll go, "Sorry for the potato pics. It was nighttime."
Oh,
It's
I
Yeah.
had not. Okay, so I used to have a potato phone, but when it started just not holding a charge at all, no, I got a while ago, month ago, or a couple
Chrissy
months.
saves her phone forever.
I do.
Vicky does the same thing. I finally, literally last week, got Vicky to upgrade from her iPhone 7 to a 14.
I had a 7. Yeah, that's what I did. I had I didn't go to 14. I had whatever. But I did go from a 7, and it was like battery replaced a couple times, screen replaced a couple times. Anyway, let's talk about decorations and themes. Go ahead.
So I'm going to tell you that you need if you're going on a crap can rally, you need a theme. You're going to have costumes. You're going to have something going on. Mental wrapped his Seville in some sort of like blue shiny stuff. It looked fantastic. But I'm going to give you 2 things that make your car hilarious, and they're easy to put on, and you can even put them from car to car to car if you happen to be doing this every year. One of them is LED kits. All right, you're gonna be sitting in the parking lot drinking beers and sharing stories. You might as well make your car a disco light.
Yep.
LED kits are cheap. They're easy to install. You put them on with zip screws. The next year, you unzip screw it. You put it in your new car. They're absolutely hilarious. They're fun. And top tip: if you break down at night and you got to crawl under the car,
You have
it lights the way.
Ta-da!
And if you break down at night and you're crawling under the car, there's a better chance someone's going to see your broken down hoopty on the side of the
Ooh, I
road
like that
and
too.
not run you over.
Absolutely. And this one's a personal one. I love me a set of air horns. And I don't mean like truck horns, like, "Rrr, rrr." I mean like play Dixie or some sort of song.
It was Dixie with that.
Chrissy, do you remember what my song was?
Did-
On my phone?
Yeah.
It was the Star Trek theme. Do, do,
Oh.
do, 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 do. You know, like the little tune. It was
Who
terrible.
had the General Lee?
Somebody else, not me.
There's also we didn't get it for the rally, but there's one that plays La Cucaracha.
La Cucaracha, yeah.
Ooh.
And also, for some reason, The Godfather is a very popular one.
Really? Okay. But
And
anyway, they're hilarious.
these start at $40 on Amazon, and we'll have a link to that as well.
Yep. Who wrote maps?
I wrote maps. You will not always get cell phone coverage. And people of a certain age will remember driving across country, either by yourself or with someone, and you're on a budget and you find yourself maybe a little misguided. We were never lost. We just weren't quite where we needed to be. So you would walk into the gas station, open their giant road atlas, reaffirm your trip, fold that road atlas back up, put it back in the rack, because there's no way you're paying $20 for that thing,
Hell no.
and walk it back out the door. The
Yeah.
last time I did this was in 2003 when I was driving from Oklahoma to Las Vegas, and I missed the exit for Hoover Dam, and I found myself in Needles, California, and I had to find a way to get to Las Vegas from Needles. And I sure as heck opened up a map, folded it back up, put it back in there, and drove myself. Even though I had money, it was just a bit of a thing with me.
Isn't
But-
that where the Clown Motel is?
No, that's north. That's where I
Oh.
was like a year ago. But Needles, California, that you're thinking of Tonopah, Nevada.
Ah, Tonopah. You're right.
Needles is along, it's part of Route 66.
Oh.
But they do actually make, and they've gotten amazingly affordable, and we do have a link to the Rand McNally travel guides, and they do sell the big laminated pages when you're trying to get through or you're trying to plan ahead on there. These are not the worst investments if you've got a crappy car, maybe you can't charge your phone, or you don't have any bars, or wherever it is, but it is a good backup, and a good, cheap, doesn't take up a lot of space backup.
Okay.
Hey, Christy, does this sound familiar? Wait for it.
Totally.
Oh, still playing. Go ahead.
All right. So I get your map. I think new phones. So Chris has a potato phone now because I have a new phone. and his sometimes doesn't have bars and mine does. So I can see that you might have a problem with not being somewhere where you have bars. I guess I usually just try to like remember where I'm going. This route to this route to this route. This is where to go. So
Or if you're trying to find like a specific thing for the photo hunt on your rally, or if you're
Mhm.
if you're in a gambler, if you're in a gambler, you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I buy you a map. You convinced me. All
All
right.
right, here's a question.
Yes.
Are you maybe not on a crap can rally? Are you maybe doing something different, like interstate travel as fast as you can?
Yep.
I'm not going to judge. Here's what I'm going to tell. Have you thought about electronic countermeasures? All right. Radar detector at a minimum. I am a
Which-
convert.
To be absolutely clear, we are not recommending you purchase these devices for any sort of illegal activity. They are simply safety reminders that if you're, oh goodness, I didn't realize I was traveling that speed, this device will remind you that they have radar measuring devices and it can put you back within legal compliance.
Mm-hmm.
We said, as an entity that does not want to be sued, we do not recommend the purchase of any device for breaking the law.
Sure. I'll mention I am a convert. I was a Cincinnati microwave escort man for many, many years. Got the V1. Love it. Get the Valentine with the little arrows. It is way better than you could possibly imagine. I will mention also it is not legal in all the states. If you're out here on the East Coast, DC and Virginia does not screw around. Nope.
Do not take it down before you see the sign.
Yeah.
They will make you drive over it.
Unplug
And-
it.
Yeah.
They have
don't.
sniffers.
Not good.
Mhm.
They're the only states that I know of here, but watch out for them.
Yeah.
We like freedom out here on the West, so you're
Yeah.
good.
I mean, everywhere else does too, but everybody knows about Virginia.
Yeah.
Waze. Gotta do Waze.
Got to do Waze. Absolutely.
WAZE. If you're
that's
not
a
doing
minimum.
Waze, you live under a rock. But do
Seriously.
Waze.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
those of you who don't know or have not downloaded this app, it is crowdsourced police safety reminders, right, Mental?
And traffic.
And traffic
Oh,
and everything else.
construction
It'll reroute
and-
everything construction.
And
the animals
road
on the
closures.
road. Yeah.
What
Everything.
the little sign for a roadkill is a little fox with X's over his eyes, his tongue hanging out. I didn't realize it, but I was sitting in traffic, and so I was going really slow, and so the little icon was getting bigger in my screen, and I was like, "Wait, what?" It's hilarious. It's very sad for the animal, but very funny for the person that's looking at it. Waze, got to do it.
There you go.
I was traveling when I was working in New Orleans and living in Atlanta. I was traveling back to New Orleans, and I am in nowhere, Alabama, between Montgomery and Mobile, and that is a vast, empty wasteland. And I was running Waze, and Waze says, in 4.2 miles, take the exit. I'm like, Waze, you have no idea what you're talking about. We're in the nowhere. I am not taking an exit. And as I approached the exit, I could see the brake lights backed all the way up, almost to that exit, got over the right lane, took the exit. It routed me down a road, and you could tell everyone that had Waze because we were all doing the same thing.
It totally
And it took us
does.
around a crash that had closed the freeway.
Yeah.
And saved me countless hours.
Totally
Yeah.
a thing. It really is. And it's so funny because I do have had the same conversation. Waze, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
stop. Like, I just need to get to work. And then and then every once in a while, I'm like, you're wrong. You must be wrong. Like, how am I going to get to work if I go this way? Oh.
20 minutes later, you're going,
Oh,
damn it, I should have listened.
I've done it.
Yes.
Because occasionally it's unreliable. I'm sorry. That's my Waze soapbox.
The last time we were going, where was it Connecticut that I set the picture? We're in the RV, we're running Waze, and at the bottom of the formerly Tappan Zee, now Governor Cuomo Bridge, Waze for some reason decided that I have to get off the exit, drive around the town, get back on the exit, drive the
it
wrong
went
direction
like-
20 feet.
It was like
and go back
spaghetti.
and drive
You
it
know,
back
like-
again and then get on. I was like, no Waze, I can see that. I'm not doing that. And there was no traffic. I didn't know what it was.
No,
No,
I don't
yeah.
do that.
If I'm ever in the city, I will get into arguments with Waze, and I'm
Mhm.
about 40% of the time I'm right. If I'm out in the middle of the boonies and Waze tells me to do something stupid, I'm doing what Waze tells me because Waze knows
Mhm.
something I don't know.
Sometimes, yeah. You have to. It's fair to question it though.
Let me see.
Okay.
Go ahead. I was just going to mention, if you're at the expert level of trying to maybe cross the country really fast, highway radar. If you got an Android, it has like the airplanes. I don't know why you need to know where the airplanes are, right? Mental. Nobody ever runs there.
Out west? No, never,
Nope.
never.
No,
I
need
have-
to know what that
I
is.
have definitely not had a conversation with the California Highway Patrol about triple digits.
Okay,
Nope.
here. I have
Never.
the ways. Okay, let's see if it'll focus.
It won't.
That.
Oh, look at that.
Say
Yes,
something,
it looks
Jeff, so
like-
the screen goes to you.
So that was like where it had me going. You could see where we're coming in. You could see where the bridge is. There's the bridge right there.
I can't.
That's what it told us to do.
Crazy. Stop it. Oh, don't do that. I'm glad
Now-
you realized it.
We'll put a bow on this with the most important aspect of any road trip, and we touched on it
You are
in the
so right.
touched on it in the beginning. But clearly, you're going to need sustenance while you're on the trip.
Without a doubt.
Oh my gosh. Snacks. Yep.
What's in your cooler, everybody? Go around the table.
So I put everything in a little.
Wait.
paper bag.
Should this be our around the horn for the end of the show?
Oh, it could be.
Let's do that. It's around the horn.
Let's do that.
Question everyone must answer before we wrap up the show. The question is, you're on a multi-day road trip.
Oh.
You're packing. You have a small, not insignificant size cooler.
A little collapsible.
A
igloo
little
style.
cooler. Not a giant one.
No. Between you and the front bench seat,
That's
or
right.
fits behind the passenger seat. Yeah.
And a little bag.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you sometimes snacks.
I bring
don't
my
go
little
in the cooler.
paper bag. I
Yeah.
have one, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm using the backpack there.
Mm-hmm.
What is in your road trip snack and drink bag? Starting with Chrissy.
In my snack bag, it is a multi-day is different than my multi-hour, but multi-day I would say jerky and some kind of kind bars. We do kind bars in my house because they're usually pretty good. If they're chocolate, then they have to go in the cooler. I probably mango strips and
That sounds lovely.
a bag of M&Ms, shareable, peanut butter, or I'm really into cookie crunch these days. M&Ms and some chips. So when we get tired, we eat like one chip every once in a while. So it's like gives you something to think about and chew for a while. And so chips are so that's my paper goods snack bag.
What's in the drink bag?
My
The
drink
drink container.
bag is seltzers. I have a water bottle, seltzers, and Diet Coke. Yep.
As oddly different as we eat on a regular day, our trip food is kind of similar. Let me go next, and then we'll go to mental.
Okay.
Diet Coke and water.
Mhm.
That's what's in the bag. Maybe a purple drink, but that is saved for emergencies. If you
That's
don't
a
know what
lie.
have
That is a lie. There's like 4 purple drinks. One of them will
No, that's a
explode.
race
You will
weekend.
pound one of them.
That's one per day.
I will add
should
a Red
say what a
Bull.
purple. Okay, I should
will add. Not for me. For
yeah,
Chris.
yeah, for Chris. I will say what a purple drink is. It is the Mountain Dew energy drink. That is the purple one is the grape flavor. It's like midnight purple. It is my favorite. If it's 2 a.m,
If you-
I'm in the RV. I'm driving down the Cross Bronx Expressway. There it is, right there.
You
He's
have
got
a
it.
purple
Midnight
drink?
grape kickstart. Now, is that
From
left over?
2019.
That's what I left it there.
Why is it still in your fridge?
Why haven't you drank it? It's lovely.
Ew. You just if you're not watching on YouTube, you're not seeing me hurl off of the side of ew.
So here are this was in my snack bag.
Yep.
Okay. I am a salty guy, not a sweet guy. So I will also have jerky because
Yeah.
jerky is fantastic.
Okay.
And then I will have some sort of chip-like item.
Mm-hmm.
But my one nibble every now and then is actually the sweet.
Okay.
So if I'm like not falling
Mhm.
asleep, if I'm
Yeah.
tired
Yeah.
and I need to keep myself rejuvenated, it's a chewy gummy candy,
Oh, okay.
peach rings,
Mhm.
gummy bears, something like that. And that's like not something I would normally have with me,
Okay.
but that will be in my travel bag because you kind
Got
of, and it's suddenly, a little
Yep.
bit of, like a little bit of tart, a
Something
little bit
to
of
think about.
sour, gets the juices flowing.
Okay. Okay. Mental. What do
Mental.
you have? What's in your food bag?
All right. So in the
Oh,
cool.
wait, let me say one more thing. My brother, if he's with me, we have trail mix because that's what he likes.
Okay.
Because you got to take care of your fam, right?
In the cooler, sugar-free Red Bull, usually a fizzy water and then a regular water because staying hydrated. If it's a long road trip, I'm trying to like really cover some distance. I don't get a lot of sugary snacks because there tends to be a crash after that. And you have to be careful also even about what you're eating on the road, because if you take in a lot of carbohydrates, your body tends to focus on the digestion of that, and that's how you start getting sleepy. So if I'm trying to really, really cover some distance, a good go-to is beef jerky, and I'm just going to occasionally gnaw on it
Mhm.
as I'm going through. If it's a short road trip and the rules of eating healthy don't apply, my guilty pleasure is peanut butter cups. Or if I'm still trying to stay on there, if you go to one of your fancy Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or one of those, they have chili covered mango slices, like dried chili covered mango
sign
slices.
me.
What we had to find them.
I need that in my life right now.
Oh, it's it's sweet, but it's got a nice spice to it, and it's a steady release of good sugar, so you don't crash as much. That's a good one to, and you can get just a good sized bag of it and on that one and they keep, so they're good for a couple of days.
Mental, do you have an Aldi near you?
Not here. We did in Georgia.
Aldi has the greatest little peanut butter cups. They're like the little size, and German chocolate has
Trader
like
Joe's has them.
Trader Joe's might have it too, but German companies have like real specific things they have to do with chocolate because chocolate is important to Germany. Obviously, that's German chocolate. So their little peanut butter cups are amazeballs.
All right,
Check 'em out.
we'll have that on there.
I'm going somewhere tomorrow that I have a
All
chance to go
right.
to an Aldi.
There
so
you
maybe
go.
I'll do that.
Ooh,
I think that was
okay.
our around the horn.
That was great.
You did mention your drinks because you said
What
fizzy water.
what do you put in your cooler, and what do you put in
Sure.
your snack bag? Get a hold of us, put it down in the comments, get a hold of us on any of our social medias that Jeff is going to list here in mere moments. Let
Maybe
us
there's
know.
something that we haven't thought of. That would be fun.
Ooh, that would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Or especially if we can find them, if they're find them on the internet or something like that, that we can all get them, because Mental has all these fun little snacks that we can't get on the East Coast. So
Yeah, I definitely need some of that. What was it? Habanero
Chili covered mango slices.
chili card mango. Sign me up.
sign me up.
All right, that was a great show, Chris. We miss you. We are getting lots of text messages. Seems like it might be ignition related. More to come next week. We'll hear about what happened. Do we know what we're doing next week, other than hearing about
We'll
the
hear
rally?
about the rally.
Right?
Yeah.
So we'll say thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer. Even you enjoyed this podcast. Subscribe. It is totally free. Go to iTunes. It's right down there in the doodly-doo if you're watching on the YouTubes. Tell us what's going on in your life. Tell us what your road trip snacks are. If you have any questions or show ideas, you can also drop them on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers. Email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Text mental pictures of your junk or your favorite snack, 484-243-0455. Instagram or Twitter, everyone.racers, YouTube, Facebook.
Thanks, Tyler. Got all the pictures. Those were fun.
Oh, Reddit/E1R. Thanks again, and until next week. Keep the plastic side up if you're in your 84 Corvette. If you're
Or
not an
Fiero.
84 Corvette, just keep those wheels down.